I didn't really prepare a shear for the sake of going over Lag BaOmer. It was more just a last minute opportunity to talk about Lag BaOmer, being that tonight is Lag BaOmer. It's an opportunity to get together as a group of guys to go ahead and discuss a little Lag BaOmer. So I'm going to try my best. With Hashem Self, we'll say some things. It might not flow together. It might be bits and pieces, but with Hashem Self, it's all good. Number one, I think it's big important lesson to talk about Rav Shimon Bar Yochai is to talk about Rav Shimon Bar Yochai himself. Who is Rav Shimon Bar Yochai? What's his background? Who is he? Now, obviously, there's heard a great part from the name of I forgot who now. Not my Rav Avi Wiesenfeld. He said that Hashem himself says there's no way for a Jew to explain how special a Jew is to a non-Jew. Not possible. It's not possible for a guy to understand how great we are as Jews. And his Talmud said, it's really much deeper. There's no way to explain to a Yid how great a Yid is even to another Yid. He said the Yid is so high, even a Yid can't understand how great we are. So for imagine us going to try to talk about Rosh Hashanah, it's a joke. Rosh Hashanah is Malach Elakim, Tana Elakim. We have nothing to talk about, but we're going to try it. And there's certain things that are brought down in Svarim, so we're allowed to use those things as entry way to get into it. And of course, we'll try to see what we can do to connect, to apply ourselves. Many, you can even ask questions.
He's already a chassid. No, he's already a chassid. We're not going to we have no idea. We think we have a sucker. We mamish don't know.
So like this. So now let's talk about a little bit where we like the guys here like to get into Panimus. So we're going to get into the inside of Rav Shimon. Who is Rav Shimon? You got to go to his parents. How did he come alive? There's a famous story, which probably some of you or maybe all of you already know the story, but we'll chazer it because it's a good way to talk about the story. The story is Rav Shimon Bar Yochai himself was married to a woman named Sarah, and they did not have children for many years. I don't know how long, but it was quite some time, to the point that Yochai decided it's time for him to start looking for another wife, because this match is not going to be able to have children, and that was what he felt was his purpose. So he's going to go ahead and look for another wife. To the point that I think they said he even did as a shalos. He even reached out to Shachtan and said, "Please help me find another wife," with the plan to divorce Sarah and to move on. Sarah got wind of it, and obviously, like a woman's supposed to do, is she reached out to Tefillah. And she started davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. She got herself to Bechi, to cry, which is the highest form of tefillah. And that night was the night of Rosh Hashanah. Yochai himself, he goes to sleep, and he has a dream. He's in the forest, beautiful, nice forest. There's lots of trees in this forest that he's in. Some trees have fruit, some trees do not have fruit. Yochai is standing on a tree that is barren, that's empty, no fruit on it. And all of a sudden, a malach, walks around with a pitcher of water, starts pouring them on different trees. And as he pours them down, these trees, they blossom, they're beautiful. It doesn't do every single tree, certain specific trees. He comes to his tree, and he looks at him, and he takes out a plate. Instead of the water pitcher, he takes out a plate, takes a little of the water from the plate, and instantly the tree comes beautiful. Yochai wakes up, tells his wife, he said the wild dream was a beautiful dream, it was something special about it. What do you make of it? She says, it's simple. The forest was the world, it was Elam Hazeh. The trees were all the woman. It says the woman is somehow compared to a tree. And you were standing next to me, next to my tree. And we're going to be Zeicha this year. Today's Rosh Hashanah. This is the day that Hashem decides who's getting children. We're going to be Zeicha to have a child. So he said, great, love it, beautiful, I'm in. Why'd I have a plate? Everybody got a water pitcher. Why'd I get a plate? She said, I don't know. Go to the Rebbe. Who's the Rebbe? The Rebbe was Rav Kiva. Right? Shimon was telling Rav Kiva. Go to Rav Kiva, he'll ask them. So they bring the story to Rav Kiva. Rav Kiva hears the story. Here's the way Sarah interpreted the dream. Rav Kiva said, you're spot on. Exactly what the dream meant. Why the plate? He turns to Yochai. He says, Yochai, unfortunately, the Gezer was on you. You can't have children. It wasn't her. You're not able to have children. Since she was mispal, since she cried in tefillah, was a plate that they collected those tears, and that's what's going to be zeichet to give you a child. You're going to have a beautiful child who's going to light the world up with Torah, and sure enough, that is Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Story that's written down, not my own story. It's a story that's.
I was going to say, how do you know this?
It's written in this. It's written in the Svarim. It's written in the Holy Svarim. The question is, what do we do with that story? It's a beautiful story. It's what I think. Now, we can each do their own thing to the story. But before we say what to do with the story, let's say one other huge component of Rav Shimon Bar Yochai, and then we'll try to tie it together. Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was obviously a huge Tana prior to the story that he went into the cave. There's a whole story with him, which we all know why he had to go to the cave. He said something, etc. But seemingly, more than seemingly, the story of the cave is what made him explode into being Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. That means for 12 years of his life, or 11 plus 1, however that worked, 10 years, he was living in a cave, in the darkest. A cave represents all darkness. He had no clothing, no food, no family. He had his kid, but no extended family, no friends, so to say, and nothing. He was in the most brokest part possible part of the world, so to say. But yet he took that opportunity of being broke, took that opportunity of being in the darkest spot possible, and he blew up to be this tremendous beacon of light to the entire world. That's where he got that's where he got the Zara from. That's where he got everything that he became, and his legacy became from the hardest, biggest, most seemingly darkest challenge, which he took that and he turned it into everything. So now let's go back. So now, why is it important to know that Yochai came from Tefillah? I think if you put these two stories together, you get a huge lesson of what Lag BaOmer is, and we'll talk about Lag BaOmer in a minute if we still have time. The lesson is Tefillah is tremendously powerful. Shimon Bar Yochai became Shimon Bar Yochai. Why? Because his mother davened. What does that mean? That means Hashem's teaching us, He's showing us, when we do Tefillah, sometimes we see it, sometimes we don't see it, it doesn't make a difference. But Tefillah is real, and when a person has Tefillah inside of him, and we have a Tefillah inside our work, before we go to work we daven, and we say a Tefillah that we should be successful. Now that work is elevated because it's got Tefillah in it. We daven that we should be successful with our relationship, we daven that we should be successful with our relationship with Hashem. We daven, all these things that we daven for, takes that and elevates that and spirals that into something tremendous. Rav Shimshon Pincus gives a great muscle between Tefillah and not Tefillah. He says, you see, there's a wall. You see a wall, you take a stone, someone takes a stone and throws it at it, the wall explodes. Next guy said, that's so cool. Let me do that too. He takes up the wall, throws it, nothing happens. So what's the difference? He said, I didn't throw a rock, I threw dynamite. When the dynamite hit it, it exploded. He says, that's the difference between doing something with Tefillah and without Tefillah. When you do something with Tefillah, you're taking your thing you're doing and you're infusing it with this dynamite, and you're infusing with this explosion. Now, look at Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. He had the mother's tefillahs inside of him. He's a person with tefillah, which we all are. But he's a person with tefillah. He takes that tefillah in his darkest challenge, and he keeps on davening, he keeps on doing his best, and he pushes through, and he becomes this biggest source of light out there. My own thought of putting it together, that maybe we could say is something that we could take care of ourselves. We all go through challenges, we all go through struggles, but yet we also all feel it. We all have tefillah inside of us from whether it's from our parents or whether from ourselves. We have tefillah inside of us. It's something that's a part of us, something that we do, and something that if we utilize correctly, we could also go out there and explode. Let's go to two more little short things, and then we'll call it share. It's said about Rav Shimon that, I forgot the exact lesson, but it says about Rav Shimon that he is the person, when Hashem said He created Adam, Zehu Rav Shimon. So he's Adam, we're all Adam. So he explains like this. This is Rav Shimshon Pincus explaining that Adam, what is an Adam? Adam is a person. A person isn't a person. That's a person. What's a person? A person is somebody, a being that can connect to Hashem. So now let's look at who Rav Shimon was. Rav Shimon was somebody who took the Zohar, he took the most mystical, hidden secrets of the Torah and put it down on paper, which means he put it in a way that we all could learn it. Now, you and I may not be so successful learning, but in theory, he took something that's extremely high and brought it down to seemingly the lowest possible, is that anybody could just learn it. That's really what a person is. A person is, you have an neshama and you have a guf and you connect the two. You have spiritual and physical and you connect the two. It's said about the Mashiach time that Ikvus of the Mashiach, the heel of the Mashiach, which is the heel of the person, the lowest part of it, which is our generation, is going to be into Kabbalah. Why is it into Kabbalah? Exactly for this reason. And that is who Rav Shimon is. He's somebody that's connecting spiritual to non-spiritual, physical, and the neshama and the guf comes together, and that's what goes ahead, and that's what an Adam is, and that's what person is. We're supposed to be able to go ahead and connect ourselves into the neshama, into connecting to Hashem, so to say. And with that ability is what Lag BaOmer really is. It's that time to celebrate and to connect together. The last thing on this concept is, we all know Lag BaOmer is Hayt Shebahayt, right? So what's Hayt Shebahayt? So Saram say Hayt Shebahayt is Din Shebedin, which is seemingly the darkest, hardest part of Hashem's judgment. It's the judgment of judgment, which Din usually refers to seemingly the not good things, so to say. But really, that's why I'm explaining the deeper level of Din Shebedin is the highest level. Why? Because Hayt Shebahayt is also Haydah Shebahaydah. It's gratitude of gratitude. It's thanking Hashem for everything. What does that mean? That means when we acknowledge, and we could sit around here as a group of guys and say that we're going to take time off to chill, but the chill is going to be through Torah, is we're saying, Hashem, thank you so much for letting us be a Jew. Thank you so much for letting us connect to you, to be able to thank you, which is the highest level of Haydah. At the end of the Ramban, we say, Al Shanachnu Lach, Baruch Kal Haydas, that we're thanking you because we could thank you. The fact that we're able to thank you, the fact that we acknowledge and recognize that you care about us and that you want to have a relationship with us, and that to the point that that's why we can thank you, that is the greatest Haydah. And that is what Hayt Shebahayt is. That is what Lag BaOmer is. It's time to acknowledge that everything comes from Hashem, whether it's the challenge, whether it's the good, it's all good. We have the tefillah, we have the neshama inside us to connect in every single level possible. Well, the Neshama's up, we should be zeichet to see all there is from Lag BaOmer, from Hashem, and we should see the Mashiach really, really soon.
Oh, man.
Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Hashem.